I was there in the room when the words that felt like glass shards finally fell from their lips, shattering the image you had held of your family for decades. I watched as you stood by the kitchen window, the cold light of dusk catching the tears you refused to let fall in front of them. You felt a physical weight, a crushing pressure in your chest that made every breath feel like a labor of mountain climbing. You have been betrayed by the very blood that was supposed to protect you, and the sting of that abandonment is a fire that threatens to consume your peace. My beloved child, I have seen the way they took advantage of your kindness, how they looked at your generosity and saw only a resource to be drained. I saw the documents they signed behind your back and the whispers they shared when you left the room. Do not think for a moment that your father was looking away. I have counted every one of the 379 acts of selfless love you offered to those who eventually turned their backs on you. Every time you covered for their mistakes, every time you reached into your own pocket to settle their debts, and every time you stayed silent to keep the peace, I was recording it all. You feel like you have lost everything: your security, your sense of belonging, and the financial foundation you worked so hard to build. You look at your bank account and feel the cold grip of anxiety, wondering how the people you loved could leave you in such a precarious position. But I am the God of the overflow, and I am telling you now that your inheritance was never in their hands. They may have stolen your earthly silver, but they cannot touch the divine treasury I have set aside for you. The 379 seeds of grace you planted in the desert of their hearts were not wasted. They have been transported to a heavenly soil where they are currently blooming into a harvest that will sustain you for the rest of your days. Stop looking at the empty chairs at the table and start looking at the space I am clearing for the new things I am bringing into your life. The loneliness you feel right now is not a punishment. It is a sanctified isolation where I can heal the parts of you that you broke while trying to keep them whole. You are worried about the bills, the mortgage, and the uncertainty of tomorrow. But have I not told you that I clothe the lilies of the field? Do you truly believe I would allow the one who has been faithful through betrayal to go hungry? A miracle is already in motion, moving through channels you cannot see. Just as the betrayal was hidden in the dark, my restoration is being prepared in the secret place. You will soon receive a phone call, a letter, or an opportunity that will replace what was stolen fourfold. I am the God who restores the years the locusts have eaten, and your family's greed is nothing more than a hungry locust that I am about to banish from your borders. I am moving you from a place of not enough into a season of more than enough, so that you can show those who hurt you what it looks like to be blessed by the King. You do not need to fight them. You do not need to demand an apology they are not capable of giving. I am your advocate. I am your defense. I am the father who will never leave you and the brother who will never betray your trust. Relax your shoulders. Let the tension drain from your neck. I am breathing my peace into your spirit right now. You are not an orphan. You are the heir to the kingdom of light. The financial worry that keeps you awake at 9:37 p.m. every night is being replaced by a supernatural assurance. I am opening doors that no man can shut, and I am closing the doors to your past so firmly that the echoes of their hurtful words will eventually fade into a silence that smells like lilies and morning dew. You are my masterpiece, and no betrayal can mar the beauty of what I am creating in you. Trust me with the numbers, trust me with the people, and trust me with your heart. I am making all things new, and your restoration begins this very moment. Notice the weight leaving your chest, that heavy stone labeled belonging that you tried to force into a space that was too small for your soul. I am removing it now. You have spent years trying to translate your heart into a language they refused to learn. You stood in the kitchen, gripped by the cold realization that the people who shared your blood did not share your spirit. I saw you in those quiet moments, leaning against the counter, wondering if you were the broken one because you couldn't find peace in their chaos. You are not broken, you are merely sensitive to the light in a room that prefers the shadows. I was there when the whispers started behind closed doors, and I was there when the invitation didn't come. Every time they mischaracterized your intentions, I was recording the truth in the book of my remembrance. You don't have to explain yourself to them anymore. I am your witness, and my testimony is that you are enough. Look at your hands. They have been clenched for so long, trying to hold together a legacy that was crumbling before you were even born. Open them. Let the fragments fall. I'm not asking you to fix a house built on sand. I am building you a mansion on the rock of my presence. Think of the holiday seasons where you felt like a guest in your own childhood home, navigating the landmines of their moods and the sharp edges of their judgment. I am preparing a table for you where the only requirement is your presence. You will no longer have to perform to be loved. You will no longer have to diminish your light so they don't feel eclipsed. I am expanding your territory, not just in the physical realm, but in the landscape of your mind. Remember the specific sting of that one phone call, the one that left you shaking by the window as the sun went down. I was the one holding your hand, though you felt only the cold glass. I am healing the cellular memory of that rejection. I am rewriting the narrative of your worth. You are not the difficult one. You are the one who dared to seek the truth. You are not the outcast. You are the pioneer I am using to break the generational chains that have bound your bloodline for centuries. As you breathe, feel the warmth traveling down to the tips of your toes. This is my love, liquid and golden, filling the hollow spaces left by their absence. The silence that used to feel lonely is now becoming a sanctuary. In this silence, you will finally hear my voice clearly, unclouded by the static of their expectations. I am teaching you a new way to walk, not with the tentative steps of someone waiting to be scolded, but with the steady stride of someone who knows they are cherished. The financial lack you feared is a shadow that is dissipating. I am the owner of the cattle on 1,000 hills, and do you not think I would provide for my own child? The resources you need are already in transit. They are coming from unexpected directions, from people who will value your gift without trying to claim ownership of your soul. I am bringing chosen family into your life, people whose loyalty is not a matter of obligation, but of divine recognition. They will see the beauty you've hidden away, and they will help you water the garden of your potential. Do you remember the dream you tucked away in a drawer when you were 12? The one they laughed at? I never stopped dreaming it for you. I kept it safe, pulsing with life, waiting for the moment when you would finally stop seeking their permission to fly. That moment is now. You are transitioning from the winter of their discontent into the springtime of my favor. The frost is melting off your dreams. The bitterness that tried to take root in your heart is being replaced by a sweetness that can only be cultivated in the fires of trials. You will look back on this season not with pain, but with a profound sense of awe at how I used their rejection to redirect you to my perfection. You are becoming a vessel of comfort for others who have been discarded. Your scars will become stars that guide others out of the same darkness. But for now, just rest. Don't worry about the how or the when. Focus on the who. I am the Alpha and the Omega, the beginning of your healing and the completion of your joy. I am the architect of your future, and the blueprints I have drawn for you contain no traces of their betrayal. There is a room in my heart that has always belonged to you, and in that room there is no shouting, no hidden agendas, and no conditional affection. There is only the steady, rhythmic pulse of grace. Feel it. Let it sync with your own heartbeat. You are safe. You are seen. You are deeply, irrevocably loved. The accusations they threw at you are falling like autumn leaves, dead and powerless. I am clothing you in a robe of righteousness that fits you perfectly, unlike the heavy garments of shame they tried to drape over your shoulders. Every word of theirs that cut you is being stitched together by my mercy. I am turning the weapon formed against you into a tool for your advancement. Do not look back at the burning bridges. Look forward to the city I have prepared for you. The air there is thin and pure, and you will breathe more easily than you ever have before. I am the God who restores the years the locusts have eaten. I am giving you back your joy, your laughter, and your sense of wonder. You will find yourself smiling at a bird on a fence or the way the light hits the floor, and you will realize that the heaviness is gone. It didn't happen all at once, but it is happening surely. You are being born again, not of flesh, but of spirit, into a family that can never be broken. Your inheritance is not a piece of land or a sum of money that can be withheld by an angry relative. Your inheritance is me, and I am infinite. Walk with me into the garden of your own soul, where the soil has been tilled by the very tears you shed over their rejection. Do you remember the quiet hours of the night when the silence of the house felt like an accusation? When the memories of those holiday dinners, those rituals of pretense where you were expected to play a role that strangled your spirit, came back to haunt your rest? I was there in that silence. I was the one holding your hand when you realized that the people who were supposed to be your sanctuary had become your storm. It is a peculiar kind of grief, this mourning of the living. It is a funeral for a relationship that still walks and talks and demands your compliance. But I have seen the way they tried to mold you into an image that suited their pride, and I saw the moment you finally dared to break that mold. It wasn't rebellion, it was a resurrection. You were coming alive to the truth of who I created you to be, and they could not handle the light that began to emanate from your cracks. I am healing the places where they told you that you were too much or not enough. I am rewriting the labels they placed on your brow, labels like difficult, ungrateful, or the black sheep. To me, you are the chosen one who broke the generational chain. You are the one who stood at the edge of the cycle of dysfunction and said, "No further." That courage has cost you dearly, I know. I have bottled every tear shed in the bathroom with the fan running so they wouldn't hear you cry. I have recorded every prayer you whispered for a reconciliation that never came because they were more in love with their narratives than with your soul. Let us talk about the freedom that is coming. It starts with the small things. Notice how you no longer check your phone with a jolt of anxiety, wondering if a message from them will ruin your day. Notice how you are starting to buy the things you like, decorate the way you want, and speak your mind without checking the room for their approval. I am teaching you to inhabit your own life. Think of the way a sapling, once shaded by a gnarled, overbearing oak, finally finds the sun when the old tree is moved. You are stretching your branches now. You are realizing that the world is much larger than the narrow hallway of their expectations. I am also healing the phantom limb of their presence. Even in their absence, their voices sometimes echo in your mind, telling you that you will fail or that you are alone. I am silencing those echoes with the thunder of my devotion to you. When the lie whispers that you are unlovable because your own blood turned away, I shout from the heavens that you are my beloved. I am the father who never leaves, the brother who never betrays, the mother who comforts with a tenderness that knows no end. I am filling the void where their validation used to sit. You do not need their well done to be whole. You have mine. Look at your hands. They are no longer clenched in a defensive posture. They are opening to receive the new things I am placing in them. I am bringing people into your life who will be family in the truest sense, friends who stick closer than a brother, mentors who see your gold, and a community that celebrates your growth instead of fearing it. These are the kinships of the Spirit, forged in the fire of shared values and mutual respect. They will not ask you to diminish yourself to make them feel tall. I am walking you through the rooms of your heart, opening the windows to let out the stale air of resentment. We are throwing away the old photographs of what should have been and making space for what is. It is okay to let go. It is not a betrayal of them to choose your own health. It is an act of worship to honor the life I gave you. You are not a piece of property to be managed. You are a garden to be tended. And I am the gardener. Do you feel the warmth on your back? That is my favor. It is not dependent on their approval. It follows you into your new home, into your workplace, and into the quiet moments of your morning coffee. I am blessing the work of your hands because you have chosen the narrow path of integrity over the broad road of toxic loyalty. You are being refined. The dross of their insults is being burned away, and what is emerging is pure, resilient, and breathtakingly beautiful. Wait for the moments of sudden clarity. You will be walking down the street or sitting in a park, and you will suddenly realize that you haven't thought about their cruelty for hours, then for days, then for weeks. This is the healing. It is the slow, steady reclamation of your mind. I am the one guarding the gates of your peace. When the enemy tries to use the memory of their betrayal to pull you back into the pit of bitterness, I will remind you of the horizon. I will point you toward the sunrise I have painted just for you. There is a table I am preparing for you, and while those who hurt you may watch from a distance, they can no longer touch the feast. They cannot sour the wine or break the bread. This is a private communion between us, a place of safety where you can finally take off the armor. You do not have to be strong here. You do not have to prove anything. You can just be. In this stillness, I am mending the very fabric of your nervous system. I am calming the fight or flight that has been your constant companion since childhood. I am speaking peace. Be still to the waves of your past. Do not fear the holidays or the milestones yet to come. I will be your celebration. I will give you new traditions that are steeped in joy and authenticity. We will build something so beautiful from the ruins that people will stop and marvel, not at the destruction, but at the architecture of your restoration. You are a living testament to the fact that blood is not destiny, and that my love is the strongest bond in the universe. Continue to walk with me. Don't rush the process. If you have a day where the grief returns like a sudden tide, do not think you have lost progress. It is just the last of the salt being washed from the wound. Sit with me in the sand and let the waves recede. I am not going anywhere. I have seen every version of you, the child who just wanted to be seen, the teenager who tried to disappear, and the adult who is finally learning to stand. I love them all. I am gathering all those versions of you into my arms and telling them they are safe now. The war is over. The doors are locked against the intruders of your peace. You are home. And in this home, the clocks do not tick with the frantic rhythm of expectation, nor do the walls echo with the sharp resonance of unspoken demands. You have spent so many years listening for the floorboards to creak, wondering which version of those you loved would walk through the door, the one who would offer a crumb of affection, or the one who would take a pound of your spirit. But here, the air is still. I am the God who sees the invisible weight you carried to every holiday dinner, the way you practiced your smiles in the rearview mirror, and the heavy sigh you let out when you finally drove away, feeling more empty than when you arrived. I was there in the kitchen when you did the dishes alone, hoping the service would finally be enough to earn the safety of their approval. I am here now to tell you that the debt you think you owe them has been paid in full by the very grace that currently surrounds you. You are no longer the collateral for their unhealed traumas. We are beginning a work that requires a different kind of bravery, not the bravery of enduring the blow, but the bravery of walking away from the fight. I am dismantling the ledger you have kept in your mind, that long list of if-onlys and why wasn't is. I am taking the red ink of my compassion and crossing out every line that suggests you were the reason for their coldness. You were a child of light born into a room of shadows. It was never your job to be the lamp they refused to plug in. Look at your hands. They have been clenched for so long, holding onto the frayed ropes of relationships that were pulling you toward a cliff. I am gently uncurling your fingers. See how they shake. That is not weakness. That is the release of decades of tension. Let the ropes fall. They will not pull you down with them anymore. I am placing something else in those hands now, the seeds of a life that belongs solely to you and me. We are going to plant a garden in the space where your family's rejection left a crater. We will plant the cedar of boundaries, which grows tall and provides a necessary shade. We will plant the hyssop of forgiveness, not for their sake, for they may never ask, but for yours, so that the bitterness does not become the very thing that defines the soil of your soul. I want to talk to you about the holidays that loom ahead like storms on the horizon. I see the anxiety that knots your stomach when you think of the empty chairs or the gatherings you are no longer invited to. Do not mistake that space for a vacuum. It is a clearing. I am the host of a different table. I am the one who prepares a banquet in the presence of your enemies. And sometimes, the most painful enemies are the ones who share your DNA. At my table, you are not the difficult one. You are not the scapegoat. You are not the reminder of their mistakes. You are my beloved, and your seat is marked with a name that only I can give you. I am teaching you to hear your own voice again. For so long, it has been drowned out by the internal dialogue of their criticisms, a chorus of voices telling you that you are too much or never enough. I am lowering the volume on those ghosts. Listen to the silence that follows. In that silence, you will find the truth. You are kind, you are resilient, and you are capable of a peace that does not depend on their understanding. I am rebuilding your nervous system. Every time your heart races because a name flashes on your phone, I am the hand on your shoulder, reminding you that you have the power to choose who enters your sanctuary. You are learning that no is a sacred word, a liturgical prayer that protects the temple I have built within you. We are going to go back, you and I, to the moments when the betrayal first cut deep, the moment you realized that those who were supposed to be your harbor were the ones creating the storm. I am standing in those memories with you. I am the one who held you when you cried in the bathroom so they wouldn't hear. I am the one who whispered, "Keep going," when you felt the world was collapsing. I am not just healing the adult, I am reparenting the child who was never told they were a treasure. I am looking at that version of you, the one who tried so hard to be perfect just to keep the peace, and I am saying, rest now. You don't have to earn your place in this family. You were born into mine. This process will feel slow at times, like the knitting of a deep bone break. There will be days when the phantom pain of their absence feels more real than the presence of my peace. On those days, do not run back to the source of the hurt just to feel something familiar. Dysfunction is a familiar coat, but it can no longer keep you warm. I am weaving you a new garment, one of heavy, golden grace. It is a robe of favor that no human rejection can tarnish. You are entering a season of holy anonymity, where you are hidden in me. It is a time for your roots to go deep, away from the prying eyes of those who only wanted to harvest your fruit without watering your soul. We are staying here in the quiet until your strength is no longer a reaction to your pain, but a reflection of my power. You are not a victim of your lineage. You are the pioneer of a new legacy. The cycle of betrayal ends with you because you have chosen the path of the healed. And on this path, we walk slowly, savoring the fact that you are finally, truly safe. The silence that follows the departure of those who were supposed to be your sanctuary is not a void. It is a clearing. I have cleared the ground not to leave you exposed, but to build upon a foundation that cannot be shaken by the shifting winds of human fickleness. You have spent a lifetime measuring your worth by the temperature of their approval, walking on the thin ice of their expectations just to keep the peace. But that peace was a counterfeit, a fragile glass bridge over a chasm of unspoken truths. Now I am teaching you the weight of a peace that passes understanding, a peace that does not require you to shrink so that others may feel large. Look at your hands. They have been tired for so long from holding together things that were meant to fall apart. Let them drop. Let the fragments lay where they have fallen. You are not the curator of their chaos, nor are you the designated repairman for a lineage that refused to heal itself. We are looking at the architecture of your soul now, inspecting the beams for the dry rot of their criticism. Every word they spoke that called you difficult when you were simply being honest, every time they labeled your boundaries as betrayal, I am sanding those surfaces down. I am revealing the grain of the wood I originally created, the intricate patterns of your true self that were buried under layers of their paint. You might feel a strange vertigo in this new space. When you have lived your life as an extension of a family's needs, standing as a sovereign individual feels like a form of exile. But this is not an exile. It is an exodus. You are leaving the Egypt of their manipulation and entering a wilderness where I will provide the manna of self-respect. Do not look back at the structures you left behind with a longing for the familiar chains. The leeks and onions of their occasional kindness were never enough to nourish the destiny I have placed within you. Think of the holidays, the birthdays, the sudden silences on the other end of the phone. These moments will come like waves, attempting to pull you back into the undertow of what if and if only. When they do, remember that I am the anchor in the deep. I was there in the rooms where the whispers started. I saw the glances exchanged across dinner tables when you spoke your truth. I felt the sting of the exclusions that were designed to make you fold. You wondered where I was when the people who shared your blood did not share your heart. I was in the very tears they ignored, collecting them in a bottle of remembrance. I was the strength in your spine that kept you from shattering when the weight of their judgment became unbearable. We are going to reparent the child within you who is still waiting by the door for a validation that will never come from those hands. I am taking that child by the hand and showing them the gardens of my kingdom, where you are celebrated not for your utility, but for your existence. There is a specific kind of grief that comes from mourning people who are still alive, a phantom funeral for the relationship you deserved but never received. Give yourself permission to weep for the mother who could not see you, the father who could not hear you, the siblings who could not stand with you. Do not rush this mourning. It is the salt that purifies the wound. In this season, I am setting a table for you in the presence of those who thought they could starve you of love. You will eat the bread of wholeness while they watch from the fences of their own making. This is not for their punishment, but for your restoration. You have been a person of deep empathy, often using that gift to excuse the inexcusable in others. I am teaching you to turn that empathy inward. I am showing you that it is not unchristlike to walk away from a table where respect is not served. Even I shook the dust of certain cities from my feet. Your life is a sacred temple, and I am the one standing at the door, overturning the tables of the money changers who tried to sell you your own worth at a price you could never pay. We are moving into a deeper chamber now, a place of profound inner knowing. This is where we deconstruct the lies that said you are too much or not enough. You were always exactly what I intended, a masterpiece interrupted by the graffiti of their insecurities. As we sit in this quiet, I want you to feel the rhythm of your own heart. It is no longer beating in time with their demands. It is finding its own cadence, a steady thrum of resilience. You are learning that your value is not a collective decision made by a family council. It is a divine decree issued from the throne of grace. The wounds are closing, leaving scars that will one day be the maps for others who are lost in the same woods. You will look at those scars and see not the knife of the betrayer, but the needle of the great physician who stitched you back together with threads of gold. We are staying in this stillness a while longer, for there are whispers of my love that can only be heard when the shouting of their accusations has finally faded into the distance. You are safe here. You are seen here. You are finally, completely your own, because you are mine. Take a deep breath now, a slow, deep expansion of the lungs that you have kept constricted for far too long. Do you feel that slight resistance, that tightness in the center of your chest? It is the ghost of a hand that once tried to mold you into something you were never meant to be. For years, you walked through the hallways of your childhood and the rooms of your adult life as if you were a guest in your own skin, constantly checking the temperature of the air to see if it was safe to speak, to breathe, to simply exist. You became a master of the unspoken, a scholar of the subtle shift in a parent's eyes or the cold silence of a sibling's disapproval. You learned to read the weather of their moods better than you knew the desires of your own soul. But that season of surveillance is ending. I am dismantling the watchtowers they built around your heart. I want you to remember the specific moments when the betrayal felt like a physical blow. The dinner where your success was met with a pointed change of subject. The holiday where your presence was tolerated, but your voice was ignored. The crisis where those you called blood were the first to cast stones of judgment. Those moments were not reflections of your inadequacy. They were the desperate attempts of a broken system to maintain its own fragile equilibrium. They tried to make you the bearer of their unhealed shadows, the scapegoat for the secrets they were too afraid to face. But you were not made to be a container for their darkness. You were created to be a prism for my light. Let us walk together through the garden of your memories, but this time, we are not looking through the lens of their accusations. We are looking through the lens of my truth. See that version of yourself at 10 years old, trying so hard to earn a smile that was always withheld. See yourself at 20, apologizing for a brilliance you shouldn't have had to hide. I was there in every one of those moments, catching every tear in a bottle of grace. I saw the way they traded your loyalty for their convenience. I saw the way they used the intimacy of your history to find the exact place to plant the seeds of doubt. It was a breach of the most sacred contract, a violation of the ground that should have been your sanctuary. Yet, look closely at the soil of your life now. The very places where they dug deep trenches of rejection are the places where I am pouring the living water of my presence. The hollowed-out spaces they left behind are becoming the reservoirs of a deeper compassion. You are learning a secret that many never discover, that being cast out of a dysfunctional circle is often the first step toward being brought into a divine inheritance. You are no longer defined by the genealogy of your birth, but by the genealogy of your spirit. You are finding a new family now, a family of the broken, the brave, and the redeemed, who do not require you to diminish yourself to belong. In this sacred space we share, I am asking you to lay down the heavy burden of trying to understand why they did it. You have spent countless nights replaying the conversations, searching for the logic in their cruelty, hoping for a shred of remorse that never comes. Stop searching for closure in the hands of those who broke you. They cannot give you what they do not possess. Their betrayal was not a commentary on your worth, but a revelation of their own limitations. They could not love you beyond the boundaries of their own fear, but my love has no boundaries. I am not a father who forgets, a mother who manipulates, or a brother who envies. I am the constant, the one who saw you before you were formed and who will be there when the stars grow cold. We are moving into a new room of your heart now, one that has been locked away for a long time. It is the room of your joy, the place where your laughter used to live before it was shamed into silence. I am unlocking the door. I am dusting off the dreams you discarded because they didn't fit the family narrative. I am calling forth the parts of you that you buried to stay safe. It is time to stop apologizing for the space you take up in this world. You are not a burden, you are a blessing. You are not a mistake, you are a miracle. Feel the warmth of my gaze upon you. It is a steady, unwavering light that does not flicker when you fail or brighten only when you perform. It is the light of a love that is enough because I am enough. We will sit here in this warmth until the last of the icy barbs they planted in your mind has melted away. There is no rush. We have all of eternity to heal the wounds of a single lifetime. You are being rebuilt, stone by stone, not as a fortress against others, but as a temple for peace. The architecture of your life is changing, shifting from the shaky foundation of their approval to the solid rock of my acceptance. Can you feel the shift? Can you sense the new strength rising in your spirit? This is the beginning of a story they cannot write and a song they cannot sing. It is yours, and it is mine, and it is beautiful. Breathe with me now. Do you remember the weight of the silence at those Sunday dinners? The way you learned to curate your words, filtering your joy through the sieve of their expectations. You became an architect of masks, building a facade to hide the vibrant soul they refused to see. But I saw you when you retreated to your room, clutching the shards of your heart, wondering why the blood of your blood felt like the poison in your veins. I was there in the corners of those rooms, catching the whispers of your confusion. I heard the questions you were too afraid to ask aloud. Am I enough? Why was I not worth the truth? Why was their pride more precious than our bond? Let those questions fall now. They are heavy stones you were never meant to carry across the threshold of your future. I am lifting them, one by one. Imagine your heart as a garden that has been trampled. They walked across the tender shoots of your trust with heavy boots of insecurity and deceit. They uprooted the flowers of your innocence to plant the weeds of their own shadows. But the soil is mine, the rain is mine, and the sun of my presence, is focused solely on your restoration. We are going to tend this ground together. We will pull out the roots of not good enough and unworthy until the earth is rich and soft again. I am planting something new in you, a resilience that does not require hardness, a grace that does not require silence. Do you see the way your hands tremble less when you think of them? That is the grace of distance working its quiet magic. You have been taught that loyalty is a debt you owe to history, but I tell you that loyalty is a gift you give to the truth. You cannot be loyal to a lie and remain true to yourself. I am calling you out of the shadows of their dysfunction and into the clarity of my light. It is a lonely path at first, yes. The silence can feel like an echo of their rejection, but listen closer. In that silence, you will find my heartbeat. It is the steady rhythm of a love that has known you since before the stars were named. I was there when you were a child, dreaming of a safety you couldn't quite name. I am that safety now. I am the walls that do not crumble and the roof that does not leak. I am the fire in the hearth that never goes out. Think of the holiday seasons when you felt like a guest in your own life, performing a role to keep a peace that was already broken. You don't have to perform anymore. In my house, there are no roles, only daughters and sons, only beloveds. You can take off the heavy armor of the responsible one, the scapegoat, or the invisible one. Here, you are simply the one I love. Can you hear the birds in the trees of your spirit? They are singing songs of a land you have yet to visit, a place where your name is spoken with reverence and your presence is celebrated, not merely tolerated. This betrayal was a storm, yes, and it tore the roof off the house you thought was home. But look up. Now you can see the sky. Now you can see the vastness of what I have prepared for you. I'm not just patching you up. I'm expanding your capacity for a joy that is untainted by the fear of being lost again. You are safe because my love is not a transaction. They may have treated your worth like a currency that could be devalued by their moods, but to me, your worth is a constant, an absolute, a fixed star in the firmament of my creation. Let's walk through the memories, the ones that sting the most, the moments they chose their ego over your heart, the times they rewrote history to make themselves the heroes and you the problem. Bring those memories to me. Don't look away from them, but don't look at them alone. See them through my eyes. See the smallness of their vision. See how their betrayal was a symptom of their own internal famine, a hunger they tried to satisfy by consuming your peace. You were never the source of the fracture. You were just the one who refused to pretend the floor wasn't shaking. And that, my love, is your strength. Your refusal to inhabit the lie is what makes you mine. We are building a new heritage now, a lineage not of blood but of spirit. You are being grafted into a family that spans the ages, a family of the broken who were made whole, of the outcasts who found their kingdom. Your table will be full again, not with those who share your DNA, but with those who share your soul. I am handpicking the people who will walk with you into this next season. They will be people who see the light in you and reflect it back, people who do not require you to shrink so they can feel tall. But first, we must settle into this quiet. We must let the dust of the demolition settle. Feel the cool air on your skin. Notice the way your breath is becoming deeper, slower. You are learning to exist for yourself through me. You are learning that your value is not a consensus reached by a committee of those who failed to love you. It is a decree from the throne of grace. I am speaking it over you now. You are chosen. You are cherished. You are whole, even if you still feel the jagged edges. The edges are where the light enters. The cracks are where the new life will bloom. Stay here with me. There is so much more I want to show you about the person you are becoming when you are no longer defined by what they did to you. There is a version of you that hasn't even been met yet, a version that laughs without looking over their shoulder. I can see that person. They are standing just a few steps ahead in the light, waiting for you to catch up. Do not fear the path. I am the path, and every step away from their betrayal is a step closer to my embrace. Walk with me a little further into this silence. Do you notice how the air here doesn't carry the weight of their expectations? For years, you carried a ledger in your heart, a heavy, leather-bound book where you recorded every slight, every cold shoulder, and every word that cut like a dull blade. You were trying to find the logic in their cruelty, weren't you? You thought if you could just decipher the code of their dysfunction, you could fix it. You thought that if you were shiny enough, quiet enough, or successful enough, the betrayal would turn into a mistake they would finally acknowledge. But I am here to tell you that the ledger is gone. It burned in the fire of my love, and you do not need to rewrite it. Look at your hands. For so long, they have been clenched, holding onto the hem of a garment that was never meant to fit you. Relax your fingers now. Let the tension drain from your shoulders, that spot right between your shoulder blades where you carry the should-haves and the why didn't theys. I am unburdening you, one heartbeat at a time. Consider the table they set for you. It was a table of conditional belonging, wasn't it? A place where you had to pay for your seat with your silence or your compliance. You were hungry for a bread they refused to share, a bread of affirmation and safety. I saw you sitting there, the youngest or the oldest, the black sheep or the golden child, feeling the icy draft of their judgment even when the room was full of people. I saw you swallow the lumps in your throat while they laughed as if your heart wasn't breaking right in front of them. I was there, sitting beside you in the shadows of that dining room, whispering that this was not your home. Your true home is not built of bloodlines that fail to protect you. It is built of the spirit that never leaves. Let us look at the garden of your memories. There are weeds there, tall and thorny, planted by hands that should have been nurturing you. They told you that you were difficult, that you were too sensitive, that you were the reason for the storm. These are lies disguised as legacy. I am the great gardener, and I am kneeling in the soil of your soul today. I am pulling those weeds out by the roots. It might hurt for a moment. the pulling always does, but it is the only way to make room for the cedar and the myrtle to grow. You are not too much, and you were never not enough. You were simply a soft soul in a hard place, a light in a room that preferred the dark. Think of the holidays, those seasons that now feel like minefields of grief. You remember the forced smiles, the way you had to brace yourself before walking through a door, the way your stomach would knot into a tight ball days before you even arrived. You were mourning them while they were still standing right in front of you. That grief is a sacred thing. It is the price of loving someone more than they were capable of loving you back. But I am leading you to a new kind of celebration. I am teaching you to feast on peace. I am showing you that it is okay to lock the door to the rooms where you are not respected. You are not disloyal for choosing your sanity over their drama. You are not cold for setting a boundary that keeps your spirit from being trampled. You are simply finally agreeing with me about your worth. Do you feel that slight shift in the atmosphere? It is the sound of the chains falling away. You have been tied to their trauma, an inheritance of bitterness that was passed down like a rusted heirloom. You were expected to polish it to keep the cycle going. But you are the one who broke the chain. By choosing to heal, by choosing to sit here with me in the truth, you have ended 1,000 years of darkness in your lineage. You are a pioneer of grace. Every tear you shed for the family you deserved but didn't get is a drop of water on the dry ground of your future. And oh, what a future it is. It is not a lonely place, though it may feel quiet right now. It is a place of chosen family, of people who will see the light in you and reflect it back without jealousy. It is a place where you can speak your truth without fearing an earthquake. I am building this place for you, stone by stone. I want you to look at your reflection, not in the cracked mirror of their perception, but in the still waters of my gaze. They saw a tool, a scapegoat, or a disappointment. I see a masterpiece. I see a soul that survived the fire and came out smelling like roses. I see the courage it took for you to walk away from the only world you knew because you knew, deep down, that I had something better. You were brave when you were trembling. You were strong when you were sobbing on the floor. I was the floor holding you up. I was the air filling your lungs when you felt like you couldn't catch a breath. I am the silence that follows their noise. Stay with me. Do not rush back into the fray to try to explain yourself one last time. They do not have the ears to hear you, and you do not owe them your pearls. Your words are precious now. Your energy is a sacred resource. Let us spend it here, in the rebuilding. Tell me about the dreams you tucked away because they didn't fit into the narrow boxes your family built for you. Tell me about the hobbies you abandoned, the colors you stopped wearing, the music you silenced because it was too loud for their comfort. I want to see you in full bloom. I want to see you vibrant and unashamed. We are going to reclaim every inch of the territory they tried to steal. We are going to find the version of you that existed before the betrayal told you who you were supposed to be. That child is still inside you, tucked away in a secret room, waiting for it to be safe to come out. I am the safety. I am the sanctuary. Lean your head against my heart and listen to the rhythm of a love that has no agenda, no fine print, and no end. You are safe now. The storm is behind you, and though the ground is still wet, the sun is beginning to crest over the hills. There is so much more I want to show you about the beauty of your own resilience. Look at your hands. They have spent so many years clenched in a defensive posture, holding on to the fragments of promises that were never meant to be kept. Let them open now. Let the tension drain from your knuckles like water retreating from the shore. I want to show you the sketches you used to draw in the margins of your school books, the ones you hid because they were called a waste of time. Those lines and curves were the first whispers of your soul trying to speak, and I saw every one of them. I saw the way your heart skipped when you found that old camera at the garage sale, and I felt the sting when it was taken away, because it was deemed a distraction from the path they had chosen for you. I was there in the quiet of your room when you practiced that instrument with the volume turned down so low it was barely a vibration, fearing the knock on the door that would tell you to be silent. Your joy was never an inconvenience to me. It was a symphony I was composing with you. Let's walk through the hallways of your memory, but this time I am holding the lamp. See that dinner table? The one where the air was always thick with unspoken rules and the sharp edge of criticism disguised as advice. I was sitting right there beside you when you swallowed your words along with your meal, feeling the lump in your throat grow larger with every passive-aggressive comment. I heard the things they said about your dreams when you weren't in the room, and I saw the way they tried to mold your identity into a mirror that only reflected their own insecurities. You were never meant to be their mirror. You were meant to be a prism, catching my light and scattering it into 1,000 different colors that the world has never seen. The betrayal wasn't just in the words they spoke. It was in the way they tried to make you believe that your worth was conditional upon your compliance. But my love is not a transaction. It is a gift that was settled long before you drew your first breath. I want to talk about the labels they pinned to your back like heavy stones: difficult, sensitive, ungrateful, the problem child. I am unpinning them one by one. I am tossing them into the depths of the sea where they can never be recovered. You are not difficult for having boundaries. You are courageous for finally recognizing where you end and their dysfunction begins. You are not too sensitive. You are finely tuned to the frequencies of the spirit, and that sensitivity is the very tool I will use to help you heal others once your own wounds have become scars of gold. We are going to rewrite your vocabulary. Instead of abandoned, we will use the word released. You were released from a structure that could no longer contain the magnitude of who I created you to be. The walls had to crumble so that you could finally see the horizon. Do you remember the garden you used to imagine? The one with the wild lavender and the gate that never locked? We are planting that garden now, not with the seeds of their expectations, but with the seeds of your true desires. Tell me about the books you want to read without feeling judged. Tell me about the places you want to travel where no one knows your name or the history you've been carrying. I am interested in the mundane details of your resurrection. I care about the way you take your coffee when no one is there to tell you it's too sweet. I care about the songs that make you want to dance in your kitchen at midnight. These small acts of reclamation are the building blocks of your new life. Every time you choose something simply because it brings you peace, you are winning a battle in the war for your soul. You are teaching your nervous system that it is okay to come down from the watchtower. The enemy is no longer at the gate. The gate has been moved to a land they cannot find. There is a specific memory I want to touch gently. The night you realized the betrayal was final. The night the veil lifted, and you saw the people who were supposed to protect you for who they actually were. I know the coldness that settled in your chest. I know the way the world seemed to tilt on its axis, leaving you grasping for something solid. In that moment of absolute isolation, I was the floor beneath your feet. I was the breath that kept coming even when you didn't want it to. You felt like you were dying, but you were actually breaking out of a cocoon that had become a coffin. The pain was the sound of the shell cracking. Now look up. The air is different here. It is thin and pure, and it belongs to you. We are not going to rush this. Healing is not a race. It is a slow walk through a beautiful forest at dawn. Every step you take away from the house of mirrors is a step toward the house of truth. I have prepared a room for you there, filled with everything you thought you had lost, and many things you haven't even dared to imagine yet. We are going to sit by the fire and talk until the shadows of the past are nothing more than faint outlines in the distance. Your story is not a tragedy. It is an epic of rescue, and the hero of the story has never once lost sight of you. Do you remember the hallway with the faded floral wallpaper where you first learned to walk on eggshells? Even as a child, you developed a radar for the shifting atmospheric pressure of a room, sensing the storm in a parent's silence or the lightning in a sibling's sharp tongue before a single word was ever spoken. You spent years trying to be the lightning rod, absorbing the shocks so the house wouldn't burn down. But the house was already on fire from the inside, fueled by secrets and the heavy, unsaid legacies of generations you didn't ask to inherit. When the betrayal finally came, the sharp exclusion, the rewritten history that cast you as the villain, the cold turning away of faces that were supposed to be your mirror, you felt as though the very ground of your identity had turned to liquid. You wondered how blood could be thinner than the water of a passing storm. But I was there in the kitchen when you wept into your hands, the light of the moon catching the salt on your skin. I was counting every tear, not as a tally of your weakness, but as a collection of pearls I would one day use to pave the path back to your true self. Those people were your biological origin, but they were never your destination. They were the soil, sometimes rocky and dry, but you are the seed, and the seed contains a map that the soil can never comprehend. Let us walk further into this dawn. Notice how the trees here do not demand you justify your existence. They simply breathe with you. I want to show you the archives of your life as I see them. In your memory, there is a drawer labeled failure and another labeled unwanted. I am reaching into those drawers and emptying them into the fire we've built. Watch the smoke. It is white and light, rising until it vanishes into the blue. In their place, I am giving you a new vocabulary. Where they said you were difficult, I say you were discerning. Where they said you were too sensitive, I say you were finely tuned to the frequencies of heaven. Where they called your boundaries betrayal, I call them sanctuary. We are rebuilding your inner architecture. You spent so long trying to fit into the cramped, dark corners of their expectations that you forgot how to stretch. Reach out your arms now. Feel the expansion in your chest. That ache is not your heart breaking further. It is your heart growing large enough to hold a love that does not require you to diminish yourself. You are no longer an orphan of their approval. You are a sovereign child of the infinite. I have watched you try to find home in people who were only ever meant to be a transit station. You kept trying to unpack your bags in a place that had no room for your glory. But here, in this sacred stillness, your bags are unnecessary. You don't have to carry the weight of their shadows anymore. I am taking the heavy coat of their shame off your shoulders. It doesn't fit you. It never did. It was a garment woven from their own unhealed wounds, and you were never meant to wear it as a uniform. Look at the fire again. See how it glows. This is the warmth of a family that is being gathered for you now, a family not of shared DNA, but of shared light. I am bringing people into your life who will see the scars on your heart and call them beautiful, who will hear your voice and not try to drown it out. These are the kin of your spirit. But before I introduce you to them, I want you to fall in love with the person I created you to be. I want you to look into the mirror of my eyes and see the masterpiece that survived the furnace. You are not a victim of a family's collapse. You are the survivor who walked through the debris and found a hidden treasure. The betrayal was intended to silence you, but it has only served to strip away the noise so you can finally hear my whisper. And my whisper says, you are enough. You were always enough. Even when you were being ignored at the dinner table, even when your name was being whispered in malice, you were the apple of my eye. I was the one who kept your heart beating in rhythm when you felt it might stop from the sheer weight of the loneliness. We are coming to a clearing now. Beyond this forest lies a landscape you haven't seen because you were too busy looking backward at the ruins. It is a land of wide-open possibilities, where your creativity will bloom without the fear of being pruned by someone else's jealousy. I am restoring the years that the locusts of bitterness have eaten. I am giving you back your laughter, not the hollow laugh of a social mask, but the deep, belly-shaking joy of someone who knows they are safe. Rest your head on my shoulder for a moment. Feel the pulse of the universe. It beats for you. Every star was hung in the sky to remind you that light can exist in the deepest dark. The story of your life is being written in gold now, and the chapter titled The Betrayal is over. Turn the page with me. The paper is crisp and white, and the ink is made of sunlight. You are free. You are cherished. You are home, and you will never, ever be cast out again. My love is the anchor that holds when every human tie snaps. Rest in that. Breathe in that. You are mine, and in me, you are finally, beautifully whole.